I used to think that I walked alone when I took my walks, until one day I noticed something following me. This started when I shortly started my psychic training under a mentor. I remember each day I'd go outside to do my prayers, maybe do a little bit of meditation, and I'm walking down the sidewalk going towards a golf course that had a bike path, and I look up, and to the left of me, out of nowhere, a human like figure in some sort of black hooded robe was walking right beside me, up to the front of me and to the little bit of the left. I didn't know what to make of it. I somehow instinctively knew it was female. And so I looked at her. She was walking down towards the golf course. She did not turn and look at me. And so I looked back down at the ground and then looked up, and it was gone. It disturbed me. In fact, my initial reaction was to think that I was hallucinating. So I went and talked to my mentor about that, and she told me that I had a spirit guide. Now, a spirit guide is a sentient being. It can be human or a humanoid that is meant to guide someone on the purpose to which they exist for, because we all have a vocation. Now, some vocations are more difficult to accomplish. And when they are very difficult to accomplish and that the person, the living being, can't do it on his own, then that's when this person goes and asks for spirit guides. Now, I later went to another medium who was able to channel this guide. And this guide later told through the medium that she was one of four guides. There were three others. There were two other females and one male. And they were lovers, and the male friend, a friend of mine in the fourth dimension, also known as heaven. And they were here to guide me. And they had been here since I was born. And I'll share this with you. I remember when I was I think 5 years old, I was in the mall. And I remember I was holding my dad's hand because I was known to go off and wander off on my own and get lost. And so I just remember just holding up my right hand, up like this. And I distinctly remember something else grabbing it. And I thought at first it was God that was grabbing my hand, but I later found out it was one of my spirit guides. And I never thought anything of it until actually quite recently, when that memory resurfaced. Now, I thought it was interesting because my spirit guides have been around for a long time, but I said to them, why didn't you not reveal yourself to me before? I mean, you didn't show yourself to me until I was 30 years old. And my guide said, we understand that your mother was a very religious person and she did not agree with the idea of spirit guides. She would have said these were demons, or she would have said that you were going crazy. She would have sent you to the doctor. The doctor would have said you're crazy or you're mentally ill, and that would have been the end of it. So they said they had to be very careful about when they made their presence known, which meant they had no choice but to wait until I was independent enough to where I could work with them without them being noticed by any of my parents. Because when I was 30 at the time, I was still living with my father and stepmother. I was about to move out in a few years, but still I was living with parents. So they told me that it really bothered them that they couldn't show themselves to me sooner. But again, they had to be mindful of other people's religious beliefs. And, Christians do not believe that it's a good idea to work with entities and that other entities like spirit guides are demons. So they had to wait. And they said it upset them greatly. They wanted to be with me before. They wanted to comfort me. They knew how lonely I was throughout school. They knew how I was being bullied and abused at school, picked on, and how, again, very lonely. I went throughout my entire time in school without a girlfriend, even throughout college without a girlfriend. So they really were not happy that they had to wait that long. So that was just the beginning, though, because for a couple of years, it was just me seeing them every now and again. Sometimes they'd show up at work. Most of the time, it was at home, but they would only communicate through my the medium that I was working with, and I got lessons from them there. But that will lead to another video, which I will do later, because eventually I was let go by my teacher. And that was when my spirit guides decided that they were going to break into my life in a way that I never could have imagined. And honestly, when it happened, I literally began to question my sanity. So if you guys have had any experiences like this, seeing beings in black hooded robes or had any sort of contact with entities of that nature, please let me know. Share your experiences. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. And be sure to like and subscribe. You all have a good Friday.